Let's begin by talking about the danger of low self-worth in the feminine. We're going to discuss this ancestral imprint of the need to be chosen by a masculine to receive validation. The feminine heartfelt longing for romantic love needs to be seen first and foremost as a journey back to her own self-worth. This was a journey that the ancestral feminine was never afforded. And we need to understand how this ancestral feminine is still in our psyche. The ancestral feminine was programmed to believe that she did not exist or have any value except in the instance that she was chosen by a masculine energy. Not only did her self-esteem depend on it, but in reality, her very life did. Without this masculine validation and the choice he made to choose her, she would have no means for a life or even survival in most cases. This applied more often than not, no matter what her economic status was. Rich or poor, she was up for bid on the feminine market. The choices for life outside this market were few to none and might involve direct sale of the body and sexual energy or indentured servitude of other forms. And in truth, marriage was a socially accepted form of the same servitude, which she often preferred to the exile and being an outcast. To be chosen is to be validated, and it is to be redeemed as worthy and valuable. The engagement ring is a dark symbol of this promise. The feminine has always longed for it as a status symbol of self-worth. The ring and the wedding were such an intense focus because they met the obligation for being validated as a woman. What came after was generally of lesser consequence until a woman realized what a reality she or her parents more likely had sold her into for better or worse. It was a rite of passage to see what the limitations of her life would actually be after the courtship rituals, the societal attention, and the ceremonial celebrations ended, and she was now cemented into this destiny of domesticity she had chosen, or was chosen for her in most cases. Everything in her life now depended exclusively on the masculine she had wed herself to. The ancestral feminine was inculcated with this deep-seated belief in her marriage destiny path as her only option. Her entire existence was predicated on her marriageability, and her demise was tied inextricably to the lack of it due to a lack of honor, beauty, prestige of her family, or dowry. She had no choice but to conform to this game of going to the highest bidder, being sold off like a piece of livestock. Because of the depth of this inculcation into the feminine psyche, even today, we as women are programmed to obsessively seek masculine validation. We may believe our bodies must meet masculine standards and go to great lengths to change or harness them into a prescribed idea of beauty and attractiveness. We may believe in a need for agreeability and the ability to appease and submit to the masculine in order for him to find us desirable and non-confrontational. We seek to present this attractiveness like a commodity that is available for purchase. When the feminine has deeply damaged self-esteem and unworthiness from sexual abuse or molestation, she will give her sexual energy away, seeking this validation. In ancestral times, this meant ruin and a future in the street or a brothel. Today, we see this woman who displays herself as cheaply available and then destroys herself as she is consumed by vampires. A wounded feminine will give her energy, her time, her body, her sexual energy, her loyalty, her feminine gifts of caretaking or attentiveness, and her supportiveness, so that the masculine will see her as the perfect subdued feminine energy and choose her. This old program is not so easy to eradicate. And I see it embedded into independent women today who are actually financially secure, yet they still lie down with non-integrity men and sell their self-esteem in other areas of their masculine relationships. Now, she may even be financially supporting him while the man is degrading her in whatever way she has called in for herself. When the feminine lacks true self-esteem that understands its inherent value no matter what her physical appearance, body type, mannerisms, usefulness, or caretaking abilities may be, then she begins to enter the space of true self-worth. Now something different and real may be possible. A different level of masculine will be summoned when this healing work is completed. She becomes a sovereign. She becomes the one who chooses. True self-worth cannot change based on the outcome of being chosen or not by any masculine that's in her vicinity. She exists from a sense of her own essence, sensuality, and enjoyment. She does not move towards masculine energies that would seek to entrap her into a false and submissive type of feminine distortion. When this lack of self-knowledge is present, the feminine will abandon herself and take any offer from a masculine that matches her lack of inner self-worth, because he is a vibrational match for her self-sabotaging need for validation. The masculine who comes to claim her will be the one who will demonstrate her own unworthiness and fears right before her eyes. He will reinforce her own beliefs of not enoughness. She believes a woman does not deserve to expect honor and loyalty, and the betraying masculine arrives to sweep her off her feet. She believes that men are not dependable, and of course the undependable scoundrel arrives at her doorstep. She believes the masculine is always emotionally unavailable, and so this frozen, mental, rigid man appears to give her breadcrumbs of his approval and acknowledgement. Because she recognizes this as normal and familiar, she moves towards him, actually thankful her lover has found her at last. What a surprise when the old patterns of her hurt, discontent, and invisibility appear before her again and again. Today, women are more likely to go through a merry-go-round of these unacceptable, below-par men, or they'll latch on to one or two and go the long haul with this discontented existence. Her loyalty can be deeply displaced because her ancestors didn't have a choice but to stay, and she forgets she does have a choice. The self-worth of the feminine must be rooted in true gnosis that is independent from any external validation she may or may not receive. If this true self-worth and knowing are not present, she will bid herself off to any immature and non-integrity masculine that gives her even the smallest amount of initial attention as validation. This unsteady masculine chooses her, and with blinders of low self-worth, she accepts an often pathetic and substandard offer for union with him. This is an ancestral disease the feminine must cure before she can truly see the masculine energy that is before her without illusions and distortions rooted in her own lack of inner self-worth and validation.